Hey, everybody. It's Tim Hart, Van Dyke Mortgage, right here in Fort Myers, Florida. Appreciate you being with me today. I got a special guest. It's a great friend of mine, Remington Begg from Impulse Creative. Remington, how you doing today, sir?
Doing great, Tim. How about you, man?
I'm doing good, thank you. I appreciate your background you got going on too, man. I'm a little jealous.
It's all right. We'll hook you up.
You are so ready to go with this. So you guys, I brought Remington on. He's a friend of mine. If you're in Southwest Florida, you've seen him around probably. Look for bright orange stuff on social media. That's Remington. And so the one thing I thought would be really cool is I got a pretty good audience of realtors out there, Remington. And I would like to start off by doing something for them. And I'm going to call it internet marketing, basically the basics. And so this first one I want to do is going to be just about the internet presence. But the one thing I want to be able to convey to everyone before we even get started is that it doesn't matter what business you run out there. This is going to be a lot of great content for them if you're, a small business or commission or whatever. So before we get into all that, Remington, fill me in on you and Impulse Creative so everyone out there knows who you are.
Sure. So thanks for that. Thanks for the introduction. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So Impulse Creative, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Impulse Creative. Impulse Creative is a digital marketing agency, but we really like to focus around companies that are looking to grow or people who are looking to grow. We help people with branding. We help people with website design. And more often than not, we're helping people create online strategies that actually lead to growth. And, we've got a lot of case studies to kind of prove that fact. The big thing about Impulse is we're local, but we've got clients all over the country and even the world. We've been around over 11 years now, which is pretty crazy. It's amazing how time flies. I had a full head of hair back when I started. It has gone now. So it's been a lot of fun. I've got 15 people that work with me, everyone from marketing strategists all the way through to in-house developers, designers, and even marketing people who can also content writers. So we've got all facets of marketing covered. And now more recently, going to be launching a video product for real estate agents too, but more on that later.
Perfect. Great tie-in. So the one thing I didn't mention is this is going to be probably a 3 or 4 part series. We're going to talk internet today. Then, next one we're going to roll into social media, then videos, and maybe a few other things after that. But, Remington, I'm not in your business, man, but like, I love this stuff. I really do. I recognize the power of the internet, and what our tools are out there. And I'm not the smartest guy with all this stuff, but like, I know you got to be out there.
And you're doing it. That's the first step, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Right. Thank you. Just freaking doing it, putting yourself out there and letting the chips fall.
For sure.
So I want to kind of throw a scenario out there to you. And we can base a lot of our talks on this type of person, but I do mortgages right here in Fort Myers. You're in Fort Myers. And when we get a contract in on a buyer, one of the first things we do is we have to get the information for the realtor, the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. And we have to input it into our system for marketing purposes, but also just for compliance purposes. And it's amazing, man. And this is why I think this is a good topic. How many times we can't find somebody. Right. We're looking for them on Google and we know what we're doing and we can't even find these people. And these are active agents. And it happens, this isn't just realtors, this is tons of businesses out there, and so I thought that would be a good start to, let's start if you're that beginner out there, that's looking to grow his web presence. And also I think you have the ability to tie in as well that other agent that is already doing the web stuff, but maybe wants to take it to the next level. Right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I'm going to let you do your thing here, and I'm just going to try to control you a little bit and keep you in place.
Perfect. So thanks again for the chance to be able to talk about this stuff. I'm super passionate about it. So when we're thinking about real estate agents or really any company in general, the first thing is like what do you want to be known for? And at this point, if it's not online, it doesn't exist. Like if you're relying on the phone book, and I say that like laughing because I know a couple people that are like, they're like, oh yeah, we're in the phone book and that's the only place people look for us. And they're cool with that. Like that's a whole segment of business that I think is there, but it's not really where we hang out. But if you're, especially nowadays with real estate and with how accessible we are, right? We all have like supercomputers on our phone, and so what we really need to understand as individuals is how we purchase and how we are communicating. I know, like my wife would rather order a pizza through an app rather than pick up the phone and call, and I have to say, like I tend to lean that way too. So if we're thinking about that, the online experience that we're creating, that experience starts with being found. So if you can't find someone and you're actually writing down their name and dropping it into Google, then there's a whole nother scenario for like what happens for that person if they're even showing up for Fort Myers real estate or Fort Myers realtor, right? So that's a really big thing. But it all starts with
Remington, if I can ask, jump in
yeah.
right there for a second. The one thing, like if someone's looking for Fort Myers real estate is one thing, but like if I refer you, hey, call Remington Beg, and maybe I don't have your phone number, and then I got to Google you and try to find you, and I can't even find your phone number. So these are people that are just getting referred as well, that are
100%.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a really great point. So like you've got to be able to be found, and a lot of times it starts with consistency, right? So Tim, everywhere that I see you, whether it's on social, whether it's at a networking event, you've got your pop-up banner behind you. Like it's a very consistent brand. You've got your website looks the same, you run the same colors, you've got the same photo. Yes, cheers. right, we've got our colors. But when we're talking about all those pieces, that consistency is really huge, and that goes to personal brand, which is a whole nother chat. But when we're talking about online, it starts with making sure we're going into social for a second, but make sure your LinkedIn profile is the same profile photo as your Facebook, and make sure that you have that same photo on your website. And that website can't be the exact same website as 157 other realtors or however many realtors there are in Lee County right now. I know it's crazy when I talk to people. I say, they come to me and they say, Remington, I want to rank on the first page for Cape Coral waterfront homes. And I'm like, awesome. What are we going to do different than the 1,500 other people who want that same keyword? And there's more than 1,500 for the record, right? That's really what we're talking about. So show up for your name. And a lot of times people have like these like undercover names, like their real name is something different because they have, they want to be private. Just make sure that whatever name you want to show up shows up, and keep it consistent so that people know how to search you. If you're typing in someone's legal name and everyone else knows them by the non-legal name, there's got to be some kind of connection there. Otherwise, things are going to get lost. Now, when we talk about your website, the website needs to talk about what you want. And, from what I know, and you could probably relate to this, there's real estate agents that want to be listing agents. And then there's the go-getters that want to go out and help buyers, and really kind of find the right home for people. Not that any one of those things is wrong, but then there's other things that people want to be able to be specialists about. So I've got real estate agents that want to sell their waterfront property. I've got ones that want to deal with international audiences. Whatever your piece is, you just got to make sure that that's super consistent so that everyone knows. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Because there's, when we as a lender, we want to deal with buyers agents, right? People that are trying to buy homes, and we love listing agents too because they get buyers as well. But you're right, it's segmented. You'll have people that just want to concentrate on listings or buyers, land, acreage, horse farm person. There are all types of different ones out there that they're trying to create their niche. So I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. So just because you go after that niche doesn't mean you can't service other things, but you got to be known for something. And if you're, so the message to everyone is a message to no one. Right. And it's funny because I met you a long time ago in B&I, like it's a similar thing, like asking for anyone is reaching nobody.
Yeah. Right.
But
right.
It's a very similar scenario. So the next thing is like going back to this website. there's a lot of like plug and play website connectors, and this is not a pitch at all for like that you should spend a lot of money on a website design. But if you take a templated website from any one of the top providers that like someone would recommend, or a broker might hook you up to and say, look, use this company, they'll give you a website for $49.99. That content is going to be filled with like boilerplate content. And one thing that Google absolutely hates is duplicate content. So think about how many other real estate agents in the area decided to take the shortcut and not write their own content, right? So you've got, let's say that, do you know how many real estate agents there are in Lee County?
I thought it was like 7,000 or 8,000.
All right. So we'll use that number. So 7,000 or 8,000 people, let's say half of those people take that shortcut and they're like, we just want a website because we've been told that it matters and we just want to have a presence. And so they pay $49.99 for the next 12 years a month for this website that has the same content as their competitor. Now, Google hates it. There's going to be no differentiation between if a prospect goes to your website or someone else's. And then you've got the whole other side of the other things that should matter is like, what makes you matter? What makes that handshake in real life, that confidence that you know that you're going to be able to close someone if you meet them? What makes that experience happen? And a lot of cases it could be video, like us talking right now, or it could be like, just actually having a conversation on your website and connecting the dots with the pain points people have with the potential solutions and the way that you do business too. So the website's super, super important. Now to that point, the website itself can have a couple different purposes, right? So we're in the day of Trulia and Zillow and all these other ways for people to figure out how much a property is worth and everything else. And there's something that I teach when we're bringing on clients, or I teach if we do any types of workshops or trainings, and it's called the buyer's journey, right? So the buying process for real estate can be anywhere between 2 months all the way on to like several years, right? But most people, from what I understand in my experience, start getting pretty serious about the 6-month out mark. Like, yep, you know what, I don't want to pay rent any longer. That could be one of the scenarios. And let's move into, let's start looking for a home. I wonder what our budget is. And that's where they could get pre-approved, right? Mm-hmm. So that could be a great shout out for you to kind of be nurturing those people at the same time. But the real estate agents usually are thinking about opportunities to convert or leads when someone's like, hey, I want to go out and look at a house. But the relationship opportunity is like 6 months. I know when I bought my house, I wasn't ready to look for a house until the last 2 weeks, right? Like I'm doing all my looking online. I'm looking at Zillow. I'm looking at what neighborhood do I want to be in, because I don't want to ask someone else their opinion about where I should go until I have a good idea where I should be in the first place. So we don't want to look stupid as consumers. And then we're going through this whole process. So when you think about that process, and that from awareness that I'm thinking, you know what, I might buy a house, all the way through to, hey, I want to buy a house. This process could be 8 months. What kind of content or what kind of experience are you creating on your website for those people? Are you spending all of your time over here saying, hey, let me show you a couple of houses. It'd be lots of fun. Let me be your buyer's agent. Or are you talking about what they should look for in a neighborhood, or what they should look for in a house? Or should they buy new versus buy an existing, or should they buy a fixer upper? Like there's all of these questions that could be answered through the whole process. And I would say, and I'm going out on a limb, I don't have like any hard data, but I'd say 95% of the people hang out in this very last 2 weeks of let me buy you a home. And they spend so much time there when there's so much opportunity over here to actually start building a relationship and build value. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it because what you're talking about is building, relationships, online. And I get it a lot where people will call me, whether, they found us somehow, through Google or whatever, or they got referred. And
yep.
Everyone out there, if you're watching this right now, think about yourself when someone's like, hey, Remington did a good job for me, Impulse Creative. Oh, okay, cool, thanks. Like the first thing I'm probably going to do is jump on and, Google, and I'm going to check your review. I know my wife does this. So and I know a lot of people do it, and check reviews. You look for the good and the bad and whatever. Are they, and then if there's videos out there, you're pressing play, you're seeing if you connect with this person. And those type of people, Remington, are coming to us or to you. They already know you. Like,
Right.
They've already decided that, hey, I like this guy or this girl, or I like what their thoughts are on this, and they're ready to work with you. And you did nothing except, put this content out there and have it available for them to look at.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, and you're right on par there. So like, there's all those different types of content, but ultimately, so going on referrals, I know a lot of real estate agents, like, and they hand out that card that like, the compliment is great, but like the greatest way that you can show your appreciation is with a referral. And I'm like, no, don't say the same thing as everyone else. Like that some guy had that and it was fantastic. And then everyone butchered the crap out of it. Right.
Dude, I ain't touching that because there's a lot of realtors I deal with that have that on there. You're not getting me to
right.
on that one.
Well, so I will, but
you do it.
Seriously, right? But you look at that, and yes, that's really cool. But they get 10 business cards because everyone's shopping. It's especially with a house. It's like one of the biggest transactions of their life. So they're going to go to all these showings. They're going to pick up these business cards. They're going to look at them. How would you feel as a consumer if everyone had the exact same thing on the back of their card asking for a referral? And it's like, it's no longer heartfelt. What if one person was like, I can sell your house. Let's talk. Right? Like that actually stands out better than all of the rest of the business cards because it's something unique and different. And so it's not that those people are, aren't doing things the right way. It's just that every single day, especially with all the interruptions we have online, whether it's ads, whether it's social posts, whether it's news, especially news nowadays, like all of these different things are interrupting people's attention. And then we sacrifice the ability to stand out when we just do something easy because it was like, you know what, I need a set of business cards. And now we're going to business cards, but I need a set of business cards and I need something on the back. You know what, just throw this saying. It was really cool. I saw it on another real estate agent's card. So what you did is you just made it so that you and that other real estate agent are inseparable in regards to like what gives one person value over another. So it goes the same way with the website and it goes the same way into social media too. So if we talk about that buyer's journey, and we're talking about the referrals. That's really where I wanted to go before I went on that tangent. But the referrals themselves. So if you refer someone in BNI to a real estate agent because you know that your buddy is renting right now, that referral for you as the person giving the referral, not necessarily the real estate agent, that's going to be a harder ask for the referral than it would be being like, hey, my buddy Remington actually wrote a really great article on the difference between renting and buying. You want me to send that to you? Right? That's like super, super easy. And it starts to build that relationship. And then if he got that, he's like, yeah, dude, hook me up. Let me talk to him. That kind of thing enables referrals to happen a lot more. And where I see a majority of the referrals, I'm kind of in my hole in a cave. Like I have this nice background because I'm in a cave now. I can't leave. But the idea is
like you're a prisoner with Al Qaeda right now.
Yeah. So when when we're looking at social media, I'd say out of the referrals that I get, I'd say probably 80% of the referrals come through Facebook or LinkedIn, right? And I'm talking actual referrals. I'm not talking like referral traffic. I'm talking like you in this instance say, hey, you should really talk, and you tag me, to someone else, and you're talking to someone else. And so when we're talking about that, now that's social, which we'll get into a lot, but you got to give them a link to go somewhere. And, you got to make it super easy for your referrals to refer you to something contextually accurate. And that's really the name of the game is how does your website talk to that specific business, like that business transaction that you're trying to happen? If it's for buyers and there's things that buyers should know about how you're different, then they should go to the buyers tab on your site. If it's for sellers, they should go to the sellers tab, and it should speak about the specific things that you do. And there's a couple people that are going to listen to this. They'll be like, oh, well, what I do is secret. I can't share the details of what I do. I call it bullshit, right? Because if you are going to hold that hostage and not share what makes you different, then no one is ever going to see it. And so if you share that process a little bit more and you build that rapport and that relationship and it comes across authentic and natural on your website, whether it's written, and for the record, you can find people to help you write this content if you're not strong on that, or whether it's visual, like on a video, then now what you're doing is you're saying, I know my stuff. You should check me out because I care about this thing. And this specifically is what I can do for you in this scenario. And then you could have 150 other pages that say the exact same thing about all the different business processes that you do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about like, when someone says I have a secret, you mean like my secret marketing strategy, or, like, hey, we're a mortgage company and we can underwrite loans before you're under contract, and like not tell anybody about it until they're on the phone.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to tell anybody because then someone's going to copy me.
But, at some point people have to realize like there's not an original idea out there anymore. It's almost
like iterate and improve it. Iterate and improve it, right? Like, and that's kind of where I'm going. Like, I've talked to, since we're keeping this on real estate agents, I've talked to probably half a dozen real estate agents this year, and I've asked them. So I usually go into. Have you ever heard of Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
Simon Sinek. So Simon Sinek has this. He wrote a book on, the power of why, and he has this whole golden circle TED talk, which I'll shoot you a link to share with everyone. But he talks about like the why, how, what. Right? You start with why. Like, why do you do this, or why should anyone care? So if we're talking sellers, like, I help sellers buy, and that would be the blank. That's the how, right? So I help sellers sell their home, in under 60 days. And then you tell them how you do that by connecting with an international audience, by seeking out people who are renting homes, or whatever those things are. And then you tell them like what they can experience by choosing you as a real estate agent. And so if you lead with that, why you do it, and then you flow all the way through to the what it is that you're doing, that content becomes compelling and someone can connect to that. Right. So there's one real estate agent I talked to a while back. And we were talking about like, who's the target audience? Like, who do you want to come to your website? And he's like, anyone. I'm like, who do you want to come to your website? And he's like, well, I really like working with young families. Okay, perfect. So you like working with young families. And I'm like, so talk to me about their situation. He goes, well, they might already be in their first home, or they might be renting. I'm like, all right. So now we know, like, if we're creating this content, we've got someone who is a new family. Maybe they're just about to have a child, and maybe they're renting a home. So what should I care about as an individual? Like, especially like, so I'm going to say as a husband, what should I care about for my family, my new family? And what are things I should consider? Now you're not thinking, I wasn't thinking about school when my son was born, right? But now he's coming up on 3, and now I'm like, crap, what are we going to do for school? Right? Because now I'm thinking out a couple of years ahead because I know how fast it went. So if you can get in the head of those people, and you can start having that compelling conversation online and in your website, it makes it so much easier to refer you. Mm-hmm. And it makes it so much easier to be found, because now you're saying, I specialize. Hi, my name's Remington. I specialize in helping new families move into their first homes. All of a sudden now, if that's what you specialize in, and you create all this content about how to get approved for a mortgage, and how to find the right home in the right neighborhood, planning for the future, and how long you should expect to be in that home, now all of a sudden things get super crazy, and people will trust you.
Gotcha. So, I mean, again, back to the buyer or seller journey.
Yeah.
That you were talking about in the very beginning, and you can do that through your website that you set up. That is a must-have. Like, in my opinion, like, you should not have a business anywhere without having a website.
100%. And so I have a lot of clients that come in and they say, well, how big should my website be? Right? So we'll get into some nitty-gritty tips here.
Okay.
How big should my website be? So the very abrupt answer is bigger than your biggest competitor. All right. Or bigger than the next guy, because Google, if we just think about Google for a second, and Google really, rules the roost in regards to ranking and about showing up. And there's other ways to drive traffic. But when we look at Google, they essentially stack rank you against all of the people out there that are going after a similar keyword. That's really what it comes down to, right? So the first page has 10 results. And so when someone goes, hey, Remington, how do I get on the first page of Google? I say, you do it better than the top 10 people that are there. And so now we got to figure out what that is. It comes into contact specifics, Like you can't rank for Bonita Home Builder if you're in Cape Coral and you're a home builder in Cape Coral and you don't mention the word Bonita Springs on your website, right? Like you have to have the contextual content. The other thing is your content has to be longer. Right now, that is a ranking factor, like longer and more thorough than the competition. And so what we do at Impulse is we'll look at the top 10. You tell me that you want to rank for Cape Coral Mortgage Company, right? I'm going to look at the top 10 or 20 results, and I'm going to say how long is the average content on those pages. And so I'll bring it through, and let's say it's 900 words. When I tell you what it's going to take to rank, I'm going to tell you, Tim, we should have 1,800 words on that page in order to rank.
Double.
Yeah, because that's called the skyscraper mentality. Like we're doing double the content that we should in order to rank there organically. Otherwise, you could pay per click, but that's going to knock you out at $8 a click to get people to your website. So content's super important. And then when we start thinking about SEO even further is going back to that buyer's journey.
Time out.
Yeah.
SEO. Tell them what it means.
Yeah. Good call. So this is my life. So now I just throw letters, but very nice. SEO is search engine optimization. So I'm not talking about pay-per-click or PPC. Pay-per-click is what happens when someone says, hey, I can guarantee you're going to be on the first page of Google tomorrow. They're renting you a space. What I'm talking about with SEO or search engine optimization is I want you to buy your home instead of rent it. Right? Mm-hmm. So I want you to buy your home on the first page of Google by doing things the right way. So when we at Impulse are looking at things, we start talking about keywords and the keywords we want to rank for. When our clients come to us, and we'll use the realtor example, they're going to come to, I want to rank for Cape Coral real estate agent or Cape Coral realtor. Now that's great, but who's going to type Cape Coral realtor? I'm 99% sure the Cape Coral realtors are going to type Cape Coral realtors to see where they rank, right? Like when you think about the details, like
I do it all the time, man. Fort Myers Mortgage Company.
Yeah. So like, that's cool. So you're just showing how many times, and I guarantee that every other mortgage company is doing the same thing to see where they rank. Now That's great, but the opportunity there, I just did a search for home builders, working with another client. It was Naples Custom Home Builder, searched 190 times a month, right? 190 times a month. So when we look at that one keyword, that's 190 times. When we start thinking about, well, what are the different things? So when someone's ready to, like, I go, here's $1 million, Tim, go buy your home. Now let's imagine you didn't know anybody locally, because I know you've got like a referral book, like it's probably this thick.
Right.
But if you were like, well, who am I going to get to build my home for me? You're going to go to Google and you're going to say custom homes Fort Myers. Or like, or you're going to say prestigious home builder or something, right? You're going to be a little bit more descriptive about what you want. That's like at the decision stage. At that consideration stage, you're going to be searching things like top home builders or top local home builders, or, or going into more specific things like, 3-bedroom home floor plans and stuff. You care less about the company. You care more about the home.
And then tips for remodeling, tips for building. Yeah.
And then when you're in that awareness mode, like way over here, you're like, what kind of kitchen do I want? I know my wife has like 5 Pinterest boards on trying to figure out like the remodel. And I think she's also doing that for getting married too. Hopefully she wants to get remarried to me, but like she didn't have Pinterest back when we got married. Right. So it's like, it's this idea of like painting this picture of this like outdoor kitchen that you want, and you don't even have a home yet. And so people start thinking about that stuff. And with the internet, they start kind of molding this all together. So they've got this picture of the home they want. They're going to start doing that research way, way longer, or way, way further ahead than when they want to search Cape Coral home builder. Right? Or Cape Coral realtor. So they're going to be searching for waterfront homes. They're going to be searching for a lot of stuff like that. And there's no way you're going to compete with Trulia or Zillow, right? They're throwing some serious cash at that. And there's a lot of real estate agents throwing serious cash at Zillow and, Trulia, which I think aren't they the same company now? Like, I want to say they're like connected, but like those two companies are turning into this resource. And if you look at their blogs, they're sharing really compelling and really great content. That's what real estate agents need to be thinking about for their website. How do we turn this into a resource to help someone from awareness all the way through to I want to buy or sell my home today?
Right. And so your goal would be to get them right in the very beginning. I'm curious, how does Google, on your website doing organic, search and SEO, how does it rate for video? Like if you have, I mean, can you explain how Google picks up video versus written word versus photos?
Sure. So, so a lot of it from I'm going to get nerdy for a second. It all comes down to like the alt tags that you have and like the descriptors about the actual content. But one thing that
those are words you type in before you post the photo or the video.
Exactly. Like, or when you hover over it with your mouse, the little
Right.
text that shows up,
Okay.
and all the time, like it'll be like you hover over someone's logo and it'll say like 300 pixel small logo. Like,
Yeah. Image
like,
9705.
Yeah. Or if they download it from Shutterstock or a stock photography thing, it's like the stock photography number, like they didn't even change the file name. But like people, you got to change your file names and you got to make things descriptive. But when you think about consumers right now, right? You look at Facebook Live taking off, you look at YouTube. Hell, we're doing this on video right now instead of just being an audio podcast. Like there's a lot of opportunity here, but video is super compelling and people are consuming it like crazy. It's also a really great opportunity to connect with people and start that relationship. So you can start to know, like, and trust someone just by seeing them on video.
Yep.
Where, on the phone or even seeing the written word, you wouldn't have that feeling. And Google and Facebook and Twitter and like all the platforms really know that video starts to be a very compelling piece. And when you look at Google's mission is to show you what the content that you want to see as quickly as possible, right? So that's why you go to Google. You go to Google, you type in what's for dinner, and it'll tell you. And it's going to give you those rankings. And so what they're going to do is their job is to make sure the top 10 results show up are the most relevant and compelling. And so if you have a page, like we have a video marketing guide on our website, and I'll use this as an example. We looked at all the competition. The average page at 4,000 words. We did a report with over 8,000, and it's got images and quotes, and it's got videos. It's freaking gigantic. And now it's on the first page of Google for video marketing, right? And so the whole concept behind that is Google's going to that and going, wow, this has quotes, this has videos on it. Like this is obviously going to be some really great info for this consumer or anyone searching for video marketing. And so Google's going to try and solve that problem. So when we start thinking about video, it's actually proven statistically right now that having a video on a page increases the rank as long as the keywords and of course everything are relevant. So at Impulse, every single one of our pages on our website has an individual video about that topic. And you can see that of course at impulsecreative.com.
So and you do have an awesome website. What about the blog?
Yep. So the most important thing for the blog is it has to be on your domain. So timhartjr.com/blog, not like 123 blog Tim Hart Jr. at WordPress.com or .wordpress.com, right? Like it has to be on your domain. The whole value of, and that was a great question, by the way. I can't believe I almost missed that. The whole point of having the blog is to show up and share information with people. And behind the scenes, the whole point of the blog is to increase your stature with Google saying, I know about X, right? And so at Impulse, for instance, we have all of our content on impulsecreative.com/blog. And then anything not on the /blog is all our website and services related page. Our blog drives probably about 60% of the traffic to our website. And so we put out 20 to 25 blogs a month, articles a month on internet marketing and current trends and things like that. Now you don't have to do that. You don't have to do 25, but what I have to say is you have to do more than your competitor, right? And at this point, based on my experience, it's probably one a week. When we look at like other real estate agents and people that are kind of doing that thing. So when we're looking at that, you really just got to dig in and make sure that you're writing compelling, useful, helpful information. And please, for the love that is holy, Do not be promotional in a blog. The whole point of a blog is not sharing an update about what you did last summer. The whole point of the blog is talking about things that are relevant and helpful to the prospect, right? So if we go back to that family, right, that new family, like what's something that would be helpful for that family? So maybe it's 12 neighborhoods that are great for first-time families, or not first-time families, first-time home, for new families, right? You could say, Sandoval's awesome. And you could list off all these different places, because those are the things that people are going to be searching when they're trying to figure out where they should live.
I got you. And so, with that blog, so then you would say, be your competitors in the amount you post, but a minimum like once a week, twice a week, or, just to get someone started on it.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of starting with once a week. Hell, if it's really hard to get motivated and doing it once a month, then go. But by doing it once a week and putting it into your process, you're not going to start seeing results if you do it organically. And what I mean by organic is not paying to promote it. But after about 6 months of posting every single week, right, that's going to be 24 articles that are on your website. It's likely that you'll have more pages in 6 months on your website than you do in general, not including listing pages for all your properties. That's going to start showing Google that, one, you're refreshing content every week. So guess what happens when you post something new on your website? When you post something new on your website, Google goes, "Oh crap, I didn't know that was there." And then they come back the next time in a week to make sure that they didn't miss something. If you haven't updated your website in 6 months, and they probably check 2 or 3 times, and they're like, whatever, that guy never updates his website. I don't have to come back. So it keeps it fresh. It keeps new content coming on. And of course, if you keep your blogging strategy or content around helping someone, it can be super compelling too.
So how often does Google search?
So it depends. So I explained it to a class at FGCU a few months ago, like this. Basically, Google, you're gonna create a new piece of content on your site, and Google's job is to go out and crawl all these links and figure out where the new content is, and then come back, right, and record it. So if you create a new piece of content, and let's say you create 2 pieces of content in 1 week, right, and they come back and they go, wow, there's 2 pieces of content, and they were posted, like one was posted 2 days ago, one was posted 4 days ago. They're going to come back, and ideally they're going to look at that and they're going, wow, I need to check back in 2 days to make sure if there's another article of content there.
Oh, almost like they're expecting you now to be on some kind of schedule.
Right. So if you come through and you post again in 2 or 3 days, now all of a sudden Google's going to go, there's probably going to be new content. Now, if you post 2 articles and you're just continuing posting these articles, Google's going to come back and index and go back to your site every single time for that. And it's because they want to make sure that they're providing the most relevant content to their users. And so they got to make sure that they're out there. But if your website hasn't been updated in 6 months, as far as Google's concerned, they don't have to come back to your website for 6 months to check on it. Now, it varies and there's a lot of different factors, but like that's essentially the concept is if you're creating good, fresh content, Google's going to index it and reward you for it too.
So, how do you handle, we're gonna have to get this wrapped up here.
Yeah.
But, you're jamming. I thought of something. I see it a lot, and you kind of like I don't say anything. I just changed my headshot because it was like 8 or 9 years old, and like someone's like, "Hey, dude, does your brother do mortgages? Who is that guy?" So I had to change it, and
it's still a good photo.
Thanks, man.
I still got you beat.
Yeah, but dude, you're pulling that off, man. It looks sharp. I'm not far behind you. My wife doesn't want me to do it, but I'm gonna have to sometime in the future. And by the way, if you're listening on the podcast, he's talking about shaving his head, my head.
Yeah.
But realtors, there's some of them out there that are like holding on to that picture from like 25 years ago. It's the glamour shot with the pop leather jacket collar. How do you handle that? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So there's a couple of real estate agents that I'm very close with, and if they're listening to this, they'll probably laugh, and I'm not going to call them out because I promise I wouldn't. But so real estate is a people business, right? You have to trust the person that you're doing with this transaction. And for a long time, real estate has always been shaking the hand, seeing the actual face of the individual and just going with it. But you want to make sure that the buying process is as frictionless as possible. And what that means is you want someone to know that like, oh, I'm going to go speak with Remington and he's bald. Like I know what to expect when I come in the door and they see Remington and he's bald in the office, right? It's the same. It's the same thing with any kind of relationship. So like I tell like AC technicians, show your people, like show them on the website. If Joe is going to come out and service my AC unit, I want to know what Joe looks like so that when he's knocking at the door, I know not to just be like, I'm not answering that. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things that like people know, like, and trust other people. Like people, if they know who someone is, it's gonna be really good. Don't throw a cartoon up as your profile because you don't want to be seen, or you don't want to be tracked. I also get that one a lot. I don't want Facebook to know who I am. Facebook knows who you are. I promise. It's just
the black helicopters are coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, there you are. But no, like in all reality, don't show me a picture of your Maltese or your poodle on LinkedIn. Show me an actual picture of your face and show me who you are and just make it the same photo. So like I just recently upgraded my photo because now I have a bald head and that's the same photo that's on a lot of things. And sure, on Facebook, if I go on vacation or like I take a cool picture of my kid, I'll put a picture with my kid on the weekend, but usually by Monday or Tuesday, it's back to the normal, like, one of these. And so when you're working on that, make it consistent, just own that photo. And if you don't like it, change it, but just make it the same so that no matter where people are, they're like, oh, I know you. Cause you'd be amazed. I've been like picked up or not picked up. That's a really bad word.
Take it easy, married guy.
Especially when I tell you where, like I've been at McDonald's, right? And I've had someone like poke me on the shoulder and be like, hey, like, I see you all the time on Facebook, right? Or I'll be doing a walk around my complex here. And like, I'll have people come out and be like, what's up, Orange? And I'm like, I don't even know that person, right? But that would never happen if I was this guy right here and I'm standing out of the camera screen.
Uh-huh.
So, like, there's no relationship here. But there is relationship if we're right here like this and we're having that conversation and we're able to relate. So that's super, super huge. And there was one other thing that I was gonna tell you.
McDonald's threw you off.
It did. Getting picked up at McDonald's.
Yeah, I've been cool in high school, but now you're getting old and married. Hey, so let's get this thing wrapped up. I want to quick shout out to everyone out there. If you made it this far in the video. I truly think, and I've kind of come to terms with this, the fact that like you're going to have to realize that you're putting yourself out there is not going to hurt you. Like your video, your words, your voice, you name it. Like just go for it, start it, put it out there. No one's going to judge you. If they do, who gives a shit, right? Like, right. I mean, who cares? And it's something I had to deal with early on, Remington, and starting to put myself out on video. Dang, I look fat. I look stupid. I sound stupid, right? God, I'm ugly. Like, and everyone has these concerns and then I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like, I almost had a conversation with myself one day and it was like, hey, Tim, do people like you in real life? Do they run from you? Like when they see a grocery store? And the answer is like, yeah, they like you in real life. If people do, they're going to like you here. And that is the way you sound. That is the way you look. That is the way you write. Tough. Yep. Like no one's going to care. Just start putting the content out there and take that step. So I want to make sure I got that in there, Remington. You got anything else to add to anything? We'll get this thing wrapped up.
I was blabbering on. So 3 main things I want you to get out of this video. One is you absolutely have to have a website. And it has to talk to who you want as your best customer. Number 2 is if you want to rank on the first of Google for a keyword, you have to do it better than the top 10 people that are there. And 3 is visually, textually, however you look at it, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent with your messaging, with your face. It has to be everywhere. And it has to be very consistent. So if you keep those 3 things up, your online experience is going to go, through the roof. And just get started, to your point. And I always, to that last little point there, you mentioned that like you were kind of scared to do it, or like you didn't want to be judged in the beginning. And it happened to me too. Like I do a daily tutorial, and of course we got podcasts and all that. That first one, I look back at it it sucked. Like I'll share it. Like it was bad.
I know you mean.
I'm like, wow. Like I should delete that. And then you know what? I use that as a lesson now. I'm like, look, you could suck like this too. But then after a while, it's going to become so natural that it's not a big deal. And back in Dorothy Savisti, shout out to Dorothy Savisti. She said to me a long time ago, Dorothy Savisti's like, you know, when you get up and you talk in front of someone, no one wants to be in your shoes at that moment. Like no one wants to be that guy or that gal that's on stage, like talking to everyone. They're always feeling bad. So like, don't be afraid. Like I tripped up on myself 14 times during this video, but like, I didn't dwell on it. And now you're going to look back and be like, rewind, trying to figure out where it's at. But like, just roll with it because not everyone is going to identify your mess ups, and just get it out, because the video that no one sees or the content that no one ever sees is going to do zero. But the content you put out that could do something and connect with one person, that's content that counts.
Amen, dude. Amen. That was fun. So, guys, this has been Remington Beg, Impulse Creative. Remington, where can they find you, man, to connect? And by the way, before you get into that, don't forget, you guys, this is going to be several parts coming up. Remington can jam. You guys can see this. So, it's going to be filled with content for sure. So, social media will be coming up, and then as well as video marketing. And you guys make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my business page. Same with the podcast we have out there, the HartBeat Show podcast. And so, Remington, where can they find you, buddy? You got a lot of content, and by the way, I'm gonna give you a shout out on your podcast because I love it.
Thank you.
Cool. If you're into internet marketing at all, which I think you guys are gonna delve into other things than that, but like
just growth. Yep. Yeah,
growth. There you go. Yeah. So tell them where they can find the podcast and everything else about you.
Sure. So our website for Impulse Creative is impulsecreative.com. IM as in Mike, PULSE. And you can hit me up on Twitter if that's your thing, at Remington Beg. You can also, I'm at Remington Beg everywhere. So you can like me on Instagram, do all that jazz. The podcast is Wayfinding Growth, and you can go to wayfindinggrowth.com, and that'll work out real well. So if you have any questions, let me know. And also, as we're doing this series, if anyone has any questions or wants to expand upon anything we talked about here, or wants to know about with social or anything like that, hit up Tim, and he'll make sure to pull in the reins and get me to answer some questions.
Yeah, right. I'll give you some more questions for the next time we talk. So, Remington, dude, I appreciate it. You guys, thanks for listening and enjoy. Take care, everybody.